All right, thank you for joining us on this Friday morning. We start this hour with breaking news in the Charlie Kirk murder investigation. New this hour, just in the last few moments, President Trump announcing that a suspect is in custody. We are awaiting a press conference from the FBI to confirm that information from Utah. That will happen in about 30 minutes, so we're monitoring that. We're watching the podium. As soon as it happens, we'll bring it to you. The president, meantime, indicating that someone close to the suspect turned him in. Here's more.
With a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody. Somebody that was very close to him said, that's him. And essentially went to the father, went to a U.S. Marshal, who was fantastic, by the way. And the person was involved with law enforcement, but was a person of faith, a minister. And brought him to a U.S. Marshal who was fantastic. And the father convinced the son, this is it. And again, I'm always subject to be corrected, but you know, I'm just giving you based on what I'm hearing.
So again, still waiting on confirmation from local authorities, but a source telling NewsNation that the suspect confessed to his father. His father told authorities he secured his son until police could arrive to pick him up. Joining us now, NewsNation senior correspondent Brian Nenton. He's in Orem, Utah, near the Utah Valley University, where all this happened this week. This tragic shooting and a sigh of relief, if this in fact is true, Brian. I know you're working your sources. What have you been able to confirm as we wait to hear from police?
Yeah, so the sources I've been talking to say that this all began to unfold yesterday evening, that this suspect was on the FBI's board in the operations center, that, you know, they had a group of people that they were looking at, that he was up there, and that shortly before there was this press conference last night when the governor spoke, and shortly before the press conference, they were able to narrow it down to this person being the prime suspect. And that he was identified initially through facial recognition investigative methods that the FBI has, and they were aware of him, and that he then did confess to his father. And as it got closer to the press conference last night, it became clear to investigators again that he was the prime suspect. I'm also told that he was taken into custody in southern Utah, about an hour and 40 minutes or so in a rural area from Las Vegas, and that he is either in the process now of being brought back to the Salt Lake City area or may already be here, Marnie.
Do you have any indication the age, the affiliation with the campus or that community of the suspect so far?
No, none of that is being released at this point. So we don't know if he drove all the way here and actually lives in southern Utah, or if you know, he lives in this area and then just went back to southern Utah where his father lives to get away. Those are things we still don't know.
The other question a lot of people will have, I mean, there was some reluctance from law enforcement, Brian, initially to release more images or video, and then after several hours they did. Are you under the impression that the father saw the video and the photos and made the connection, or this was more of a confession? Have they said?
They haven't said. I'm under the impression this was a confession, and that this, so the press conference last night, Marnie, was strange because initially, the FBI Director Kash Patel was on the list to speak. There were 4 speakers, the special agent in charge, the governor, and it got pushed back several times. And when it finally happened, FBI Director Kash Patel was there but didn't actually speak, and the governor just gave a somewhat brief statement and said he wasn't going to take any questions. And there was sort of this feeling that something may be going on behind the scenes. And my first thought was that they know something more than what they are reporting. And what I'm learning now is that is because shortly before the press conference, they were really zeroing in on this one person and very, very confident that he was the one. And again, at first they realized it through this facial recognition investigative method that they use. And then this person actually confessed to his father.
Right. And they were also working on analysis of an arm print, imprint, or impression, a palm print. They also have what they believe to be the murder weapon, so they can track that back and then essentially use all of that information, evidentiary, to pull this together and to hone in on one person. What else did they say they had as evidence, in addition to the surveillance video that we're seeing on our screen, that added to their level of ability to get this person?
Yeah, I think the surveillance video was really the key here because it was relatively clear. There were a couple of different angles. And again, there's these new investigative methods, relatively new, that the FBI has, where they can plug an image into a computer database and start trying to figure out and narrowing down who someone is, which is really what came into play here. You mentioned the footprint and some other prints from like when he kneeled down. If you look at the surveillance video before he jumps down off of the roof, after the shooting, you see him sort of kneel down and kind of get himself together before he jumps down. And the roof is actually like gravel. It's a gravel roof. So his prints were in the gravel. So that has also come into play, and they've also been looking at those.
In addition to that, Brian, I know you and I have both scanned all the surveillance video that we can. When he jumps off the roof, you wonder if he hurt himself, because there's video later that it appears in a neighborhood where the person of interest is sort of limping, which would link the two and make sense.
Yeah, so I actually don't think he hurt himself, Marnie. And if you look at the video, I mean, I looked over the video like all night long. Once he gets off the roof, he runs. He runs through this field, and he's not limping at all. And he's running, and it's very different from the limping that you see in the video from the Ring camera that was released by TMZ in the neighborhood. So when he's walking to the scene before the shooting, he's got this very, very distinct limp. And some of the former FBI agents and people who I've been speaking to believe that he had the rifle hidden in his shirt and pant leg, and that is the reason that he was limping, because he was trying to conceal this long rifle underneath his clothes, and that's why he was limping at that point, but then was able to run later.
Okay, if you're just joining us, I just want to update you that we do believe that there is a suspect in custody. The president saying this morning he thinks that they've got him. A source telling us that the suspect confessed to his father. The father told authorities he secured his son until police could pick him up. Brian Enton's on the phone in this area. Brian, the murder weapon, they believe, was found in a wooded area. You've been out there, you've kind of walked the perimeter. Where did they find it in proximity to the building, and how have they been able to use that as part of the evidence?
Yeah, very, very close to the building where it happened, basically right behind the building that the shooter climbed up on top of at the university. There's the big parking lot that you can see in that surveillance video that he runs across. Then there's kind of this perimeter road that goes around the campus. And right on the other side of that perimeter road, there's just this little wooded area. When you first hear wooded area, you're thinking like forest or something. It's not a big wooded area. It's just a little wooded area right along the road. And that is where they located the rifle that he dropped. And then right behind that wooded area is a very big neighborhood. And that's where he fled. And that's where you see the surveillance, the Ring camera video where he's walking with the limp. It's in that neighborhood behind the wooded area.
And we've seen video as well of officers going door to door in some of these homes in the rural surrounding area. Do we know at this point if anybody saw him? Have you heard anything about any witnesses after the fact?
No, we went knocking too on a lot of doors, and I haven't heard of anyone in that neighborhood who actually saw him besides him being caught on Ring camera video, which is the video that you see where he was limping. But no witnesses that we know of who actually saw him. And it's interesting, a lot of people initially were saying, oh, he, seems like a professional. He was able to get off such a precise shot. But at the same time, he was on surveillance video many times. He walked right through the neighborhood, wasn't concealing his face at that point. So, that I think that's going to end up being the confession, obviously, to his dad. But I think that it's going to be the cameras that really got him on the FBI radar initially.